Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.D. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. In a world of capes and lunatics, of gods and monsters, there are those who must rise to a challenge no single hero can defeat. Those are the Avengers, and this is Avengers Declassified. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Essa. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed palmer of the Burger Pits,
Phil Podcast Perich.
Thank you, Philip. So glad you joined us again to discuss tonight's episode.
It's no secret.
It is a secret. It is, in fact, a secret war, if you will. As a being from beyond not just the universe, not just the omniverse, but the multiverse itself. And yes, I know, technically omniverse supersedes multiverse, but I got myself into a thing and the rule of three said I had to do something. So anyway, we meet the Beyonder. The Beyonder, the being beyond the multiverse. That piddling little multiverse.
Well, after everyone entered, all the heroes enter that construct at the end of their own books, yes, they should. They show up here. And
yeah. So everyone's like, wow, goodness, here's a strange construction that mysteriously appeared.
Let me introduce myself.
Let us introduce ourselves. We're men of wealth and taste. This is, so, for those not in the awares, Secret Wars was intended as effectively a toy line. And what we are reading now are the comic books meant to come along with the toy line, to give people a sense of who these characters are, their powers and their difficulties, and let them explain themselves in the story, which is about fighting with dolls, which is what all comic books should be.
And holographic shields.
That
don't show up in this series.
Yeah, they were never holographic shields. Okay, let's make clear, Philip. They were like years later with the Visionaries, we would actually get true holographic shields.
Yeah.
What these were I don't even know what you call them, but they were a thing that was like an optical illusion about like
when you move them. Yeah.
If you had corrugated clear plastic, if you held it in one direction, you could see one image. If you held it in another direction, you could see another direction. You could see another image. But every other direction you held it in, you would just see a weird blurring of every image. It was a poor idea, badly executed. But gosh darn it, we invested millions in it. And it was a thing at one point in history. The kids today, Philip, they don't know
lenticular
how starved we were.
Lenticular
seals. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for your. That was not a sarcastic cough. Thank you for your Googling abilities.
Anyway, and I will say, I don't know if you've ever read it, but the Deadpool Secret Wars, it shows how Deadpool was actually here during Secret Wars. He actually was carrying one of those shields, at least part of the time.
He actually was, honestly, Okay. So let's get down to brass tacks real quick. There are no less than 5 secret wars that have occurred in the Marvel Universe. You have this one, our first secret war. You have the second one, which is Nick Fury's secret war, which is the political nonsense that we'll get to later. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's actually the third. That's the third one. The second one.
I can't believe you forgot Secret Wars 2.
I know it is the best one. But it's so seamless from Secret Wars 1 that I almost forgot about it. I know, but I knew the
say
number.
you talk about it all the time. I can't believe you forgot about it.
I wanted, that's the thing, is like we're gonna get to number 3 in a minute about Nick Fury's Secret War, because that's gonna be important along with everything else when we start talking our theory portion at the end of tonight's episode. Secret Wars 2, the best of all Secret Wars. There I said it gave us Boom Boom, and that in itself is enough. Then comes The Stranger's Secret War. And Deadpool's Secret War. I forget which one came first. So actually there might be 6. There's Deadpool's Secret Wars, which is technically the first Secret Wars, but retold from Deadpool's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There's The Stranger's Secret War, which is maybe the best Secret War of all, next to the second Secret War. And then there is, of course, Doom's Secret War, which is just, honestly, it's bad, but it's fun for the nerds. It's like, oh, I'm a nerd and I could imagine a thing that might be a thing, and so here it is. Thank you, Dr. Doom. Okay, fine. Doesn't matter if it makes story sense. Doesn't matter if it makes any sense at all. This is what Doom just willed, and so fair enough for Doom. When you let a dropout designer universe who calls himself, see, that's the thing about. Here's the thing I'm going to say about Doom right now. It's fair enough to be a dropout. I'm a dropout myself. But he calls himself a doctor without ever earning a doctorate. To me, that's like, dude, there are rules to society. We live in a society. And you have to at least acknowledge. If you want to say I'm smart, call yourself a professor like I do. Because it is a meaningless honorific, but it makes people go, oh, well, what is he professing? You want to call yourself a doctor just to get back at people? Honestly, it's as impressive as you're calling yourself God Emperor Doom. It's a bit much. And we all see it. We all see whatever it is you're compensating for. Anyway, moving right along. Back to Secret Wars. The first. The best. I know I said others were the best, but this is the one that started it all. Jim Shooter in his Jim Shooteriest. Sorry. Explaining every single character to you in a montage.
Well, I thought you were going to go with I believe didn't they say like everyone knew the writer of the series was going to I don't know, get some extra profits off of this thing. So Jim Shooter's like, I'll do it myself in pure Thanos fashion.
Well, and to be fair, I don't think anyone else could have handled it. I honestly don't. Here's the thing. Here's what I will tell you about this. There is no ego in it. So for example, let's say you take an unequal and opposite master of comic lore, like, say, a John Byrne, who would have certainly knew all the lore, but would make this his lore. would make it his. Here's how Superman shaves, you see. And if you don't agree with me, you're an idiot. Completely ignoring the idea that, you know what, actually, human hairs are not as strong as most other parts of our body. And so probably could be shaved by a simple stainless steel razor. Because stainless steel razors are actually pretty strong. Maybe you want to show how strong they are, you show that he needs like 4 or 5 razors to get through his day every day. And he just has to go through, he has a 6-pack a day razor habit. That's how you could do it within reasonable constructs. But you need to have laser vision and deflection off of pieces of metal, John Byrne. Thank you that you thought of that. Rather than just the fact that actually, you know what, steel is actually still pretty strong. Anyway, moving right along. This is the image.
Number 1. Yes.
Number 1. Hey, we have a Hulk here. Okay, and not for nothing. Everything about this book is about a kid playing with his toys. Like, clearly you can see Jim Shooter understood the enfant terrible mythos that both invigorated Marvel Comics in the Stan Lee era and Star Trek in the 1960s. The idea of what if we had a god who was just, I'm a god, but I'm also a child? Which, again, when they did that in Strange New Worlds, you really think this isn't going to come back and bite us in the butt? Like, you really thought, I'm a 10-year-old child who's been in stasis for 20 years. Let me go be an omnipotent being with this gas cloud.
You need a quick plot device. Well, why are we having this war?
I know, but here we are. I was mad because I've heard other nerds say that this is about pain fuel. Oh, he's eating his chocolate-covered habaneros now. Someone said this was about determining which is more powerful, good or evil. It's like, no, I don't know who said that. Who said that? And maybe someone said that at some point. I reject that canon because I haven't read it myself. It's about desire, which is what we say in episode 2, Secret Wars episode 2, season 2, part 2, which is just like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know what desire is because I'm all that there is. And then suddenly you are not all that there is. And, well, that's weird. Why do you, all want to do things since you're part of existence? Isn't that enough? Ooh, well, that's kind of zen, isn't it? Part of me thinks Jim Shooter might be a Zen master, except everyone hates him, which is indicative of Zen masters.
No.
So, at least we haven't crucified him, yes. Moving right along. Yes, everybody lands right away. Everyone's... Man, I gotta say, they made Captain Marvel really mad at mutants for reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Except maybe, I guess, to just say, hey, look, it's not just the white people that hate mutants.
Well, again, it's just drama for the sake of drama, but yeah, I don't know why it has to be Captain Marvel.
Although, to be fair, and this is the other aspect of it, it's like, you know what? There were cooks on that submarine. Because they make the point about...
well, yeah, Magneto sinking that submarine that attacked him in X-Men 150. Yeah,
it's like, okay, there was a guy who shot a missile at you. A captain was a jerk.
Yeah.
And we're going to say... And that's the thing. And to be fair, that is literally the thing. Like, if you could take the submarine out of the water, literally just deconstruct it bolt by bolt, find the captain... and say, did you just fire a nuclear missile at me, sir? let us say that you die now, and all you other people who aren't dead go home and say, you know what? Maybe firing a missile at Magneto is a bad idea. And that is what makes you a hero instead of, or at least an anti-hero instead of a villain.
Mm-hmm.
In this moment, Magneto is a stone cold villain.
I know.
Anyone willing to work with Magneto is suspect, no matter how valid you think his ideas are. It's like saying, you know what, hey, you know what, Osama bin Laden killed a lot of people, but you know, America's pretty evil too. It's like, sure, but the secretary or the lunch counter worker in the World Trade Center probably had little effect on how evil America was. So maybe let's think about relative levels of violence. And yet, of course, the most evil mutant of all, Charles Xavier, certainly is ready to rebel and join the dark side with Magneto, as has always been his dream. Because he got his legs back, and I was like, well, now that I'm not in a wheelchair. Which again is and this is a thing we see repeatedly in this, and it amazes me because again, this is Jim Shooter showing, no, yeah, I absolutely thought of it. Why do you think I did that? Where there's a lot of mentions like, gee, I was dead, but now I'm alive. Okay, that's cool. What's happening now? You know? It's like, yeah, because there's a kid who wanted to play with a Dr. Doom toy, and he wanted his Xavier in a wheelchair. Didn't care that he could walk. It's like, no, you're in a wheelchair because that's what my memory is. It is weird as F. And it's weird as F to realize that Jim Shooter understood that this was a kid playing with toys. Again, going back to that enfant terrible kind of idea. Anyway, first episode, they all get there. There's a fight with on the villain side with Galactus and Ultron, and Galactus is like poops him. Then Galactus goes to face the Beyonder one-on-one because, you know, as you do. And,
well, again, this is the show. Look how powerful the Beyonder is, man. He took out Galactus. Issue 1, he takes out Galactus.
And to be fair, that works. You know, I mean, that's the thing. Because Galactus even says, dude, I can see you're from beyond the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
I can see you are super powerful. Look, you want me to eat all these people? I'll eat them. That's fine. But could you just cure me first? You show me that I don't have to have hunger, and I'll eat every last one of these simps. And Beyonce's like, no, I want you to play. It's not the same if you just do it. And to be fair, that's the reality of this scene. Is at any moment Galactus was like, yeah, you're all dead. Okay, I won, Beyonder. Give me the prize, thank you. But the Galactus tries to cheat the game, as it were, and just talk to the dude, and the dude's like, no, play the game first. And Galactus is like, you know, if I play the game, I'm going to just destroy everything. I don't care. They just thought you were very big bad. Please do. And guy's like, okay, I'm going to play the game for this dang kid. Anyway, meanwhile, Doom, the dropout, says, oh, but surely I could outsmart the eldest being in the universe? And the being from beyond the multiverse, who I assume is easily beaten? Honestly, what I will say about Doom is he's really good in the small scale. because he finds McPherson and Rosenberg without any trouble. We don't even get any back. I assume that's in some book that was published at the time. We don't even get like a, hey, he met these two randos in this issue of something. So.
Well, no, later on in this series, don't we see there's like a town of like in Denver that got pulled
we
over
get
here
that.
too.
Is that in the actual series, or is that?
I would assume. I mean, that's the only other humans I know of. So I
see. That's the thing. Is like my assumptions about that come completely from the official handbook to the Marvel Universe, and later is essentially establishing shots of these characters' backstories. I really have no idea whether or not in Secret Wars we ever go to that town of Dinosaur, Colorado, which I assume it still is. Which is a real town, by the way, Dinosaur, Colorado, and meet these two characters. Okay, just don't make a mess and enjoy yourself. Anyway. Yeah, but that's that, and that's actually by the time we don't get to that until issue 3, I think.
yeah.
Issue 1 is the landing. Issue 1 is the Beyonder saying, "No, you're a bad kid. Stop it," and Doom taking nothing from the lesson because literally. Everyone else was like, dude, that thing just beat Galactus. And you're like, well, but what if we fought him instead? It's like, friend, even Galactus isn't. And to be fair, we get that Galactus isn't joining with Doom. Galactus is like, dude, for real. I may be a fly to that guy, but I still know you are literally protoplasm.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically ignoring them all until Ultron attacked them.
Yeah, and that was just that was funny, honestly. And I got to imagine that Galactus like, wait, where am I? What just happened? And then they throw the Ultron at him, and again, this being who should be no longer operational, but the Beyonder made operational. Because that makes for a good story.
Oh, I thought Doom made him operational.
No. He actually says, "I don't know why I'm in existence again."
Yeah.
Oh,
There
are several characters who make this statement: "Is wasn't I dead 5 minutes ago?"
Oh yeah, remember because Byrne even explained Doom was like technically dead at this well in a different body, but yeah.
But still, that's a whole thing. But this is the thing. It's clear that Jim Shooter had this idea that the Beyonder made this world based on what everybody thought of their villains were.
Yeah,
I think it's very.
I mean, I don't know if they were worried about the response, but no, it was interesting because like they pulled Doom from the Beyonder even says later he pulls Doom from either the future or the past when he's back in his body. I don't know if he just reactivated Ultron, but it's like he pulls Iron Man. It's Rhodey. It's not Tony Stark. It's Rhodey. So I'm like he pulled Doom from like a different date and time, but he didn't pull Tony Stark. But
well, the reason why for Rhodey is because nobody knew at this point.
Oh yeah, nobody knew. Yeah,
Rhodey was that Iron Man was Tony Stark. They just knew that there was an Iron Man,
mm-hmm.
And this is why I think Iron Man is so interesting because literally no one knows he's black, and which is what makes his interactions with Captain Marvel so really interesting as read from that context. It's like because you see Rhodey always hanging out with Captain Marvel. And she's like, well, I don't know what you want, Iron Man. It's like, dude, you're maybe not listening to the voice coming out of my modulator. It's like, I'm kind of down with you, sister. And it's like, she don't know. Nobody knows. And this is going to get into what we're going to do a bit, which is the future of the MCU, and whether or not they're going to let Rhodey put on the Iron Man armor, which I think they might. But we're going to get to that in a minute. There's a lot in this episode that ties into everything we're going to see in the MCU coming forward in the next 7 phases that they said they were doing. One of which is the fact that among the villains is Kang the Conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just take a moment to recognize that the Master of Time, of he who remains, all that will or will ever be, has been sort of plucked from one moment by the Beyonder to be stuck on this thing? What in the ever-loving F? If you ever wanted to say, even your temporal manipulations that exceed even the Infinity Stones are meaningless, here you go.
Or, I mean, he was reaching several years either way. It's like maybe he just picked Kang up at some point when he came to the 20th century, maybe. Make it easy
And to
on
be
himself.
fair, this is a Kang who still thought he was a descendant of Doom.
Uh-huh.
Which is silly because obviously we know that his name will be Nathaniel Richards. And he's still like unsure on his lineage. So this might be a younger Kang. This might be, who knows, maybe this is the Iron Lad who got stuck in the Kang loop in Exiles. Because for what it's worth, I get the feeling all of that like random canon is coming into existence.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important that this Kang is here as we're looking towards this moment where we're going to get a Kang Dynasty and we're going to get a Secret Wars.
Oh, yeah, they said there's going to be multiple versions of Jonathan Majors' character, yeah.
But no, Philip. That the director of Kang Dynasty, Avengers Kang Dynasty, will not be the director of Avengers Secret Wars. Because at the end of the day, this Kang thing is minor. And that leads to, of course, my biggest prediction. Who do you think will play the Beyonder, Philip?
Oh, I don't know. Who could we get?
It's obvious if you think about it.
Who is it?
Who is the person playing with his toys in a little sandbox? It's Kevin Feige.
Oh,
so, the Beyonder, at least in Secret Wars, will be played by Kevin Feige. That will be Kevin Feige's first cameo. He will be the Beyonder because these are his toys and he's playing with them. Now, eventually, they're going to pay Chris Evans a nice bit of money. He's going to come back to play the Beyonder. Or they'll get somebody else. They'll pick another character. You know, maybe Sebastian Stan. You know, we'll see. Someone will come back to be the physical Beyonder in Secret Wars 2 and thereon. But Kevin Feige will be the Beyonder in the Secret Wars, which will not be the Kang Dynasty, because that's going to be a one-and-done story. But then you're going to see the Beyonder sort of peek through and say, ooh, what are you kids doing? We're going to get, of course, what's his name? Molecule Man in a whole story. But that all gets into what we're going to get to. So here's the question, Phil. Oh, wait. You know what? I have to talk about... oh, man. Can we talk about some poorly aged scenes that honestly we can either ignore forever or should revisit in a weird way?
Which ones?
I'll be honest. It's not like there's not a lot, but there's one between Magneto and Janet Van Dyne.
Yeah, that's weird. That always stuck out as weird to me. Even like
Now,
when
I
first read
only
this.
read through 3, so I don't know what 4 says about the outcome of all that, but not for nothing.
It took me prisoner, but I guess there's nothing to do. So,
here's what I'm going to say. I don't think she was with Hank at the time.
No. Yeah, I think they already separated. Yeah.
And I guess it's like, you know what? It ain't like he ain't fit, and he ain't like he ain't pretty. Because you see, he's like totally without his helmet anymore, which I think is a real telling point artistically in this, that he has stopped wearing his helmet. And he's also being like, oh, no, man, I just don't want my people to be all murder-related.
But I get it. I get it. I mean, there should be some more of a pause on her point, because we have already brought up, oh, hey, he killed 100, or he killed however many people in that submarine. He's a mass murderer.
Yeah, but you know what? As people who are big into canon will point out, oh, yeah, Cap actually killed a few million people during his time as Captain America, too, in the 40s. Because he blew up tunnels in which people were riding through at the time in a super rail, and there's a lot of nonsense of all sorts of types out there. Oh goodness, but it feels weird. It feels weird. It feels forced, but that's because at this time we've learned that no means no. At the time, back in the mid-'80s, I imagine there was a whole idea that, well, no means no until they say yes, and that was
but that's also
really a bad idea. I mean, to be simply put.
I mean, I guess his wife was human, but I was going to say, doesn't he like all down on humans though too?
She's not a human; she's an enhanced. And that's the idea. This is the softening of Magneto. We even see it earlier. It's like, I didn't imagine humans could have emotions like a homo superior. It's like, really? You didn't? Really? You are that stupid? That you never thought that, mutants and humans might be pretty much the same, but one of you can unleash powers without being exposed to radiation? Because to be fair,
some people can't see past their worldview,
I know. Well, but at the same time, it's like literally everything about his story is like, oh yes, I came about the time when all sorts of humans suddenly had amazing superpowers. I assume that's completely unrelated to the fact that I am a mutant and I have superpowers.
Yeah, but I mean that's the whole thing from day one with them. It's like, oh, why do people hate mutants more than other superhumans? It's like, forget the origin. They all have superpowers. Why aren't you afraid of them equally?
Yeah, but I mean, and to be fair, Marvel's more recent answer to that is like, actually, we're not that cool with the people who didn't get their powers by birth.
Yeah,
we just at least know how they got their powers. And they say, no, we promise to be good. Scout's honor. We got powers. We're going to be good guys. We promise. I swear. We didn't try to get these powers. They just sort of got thrust upon us. And I think people are like cool with that idea. Even though, ironically, Captain America, the most beloved of all superheroes, at least prior to a recent run.
Although, you know what just hit me? I mean, okay, the planet, the Beyonders made the planet so like some people can get stuff they want. Like Ben Grimm switching back and forth between human and thing. I mean, they never come out and say it, but could the planet, I don't know, be like roofing Janet Van Dyne? I don't know. Or it's like, oh, hey, just make this happen because Magneto wants it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, literally, yes. It is literally the Banner saying, "Now they kiss,
Yeah.
kiss,"
Yeah.
and that is literally what is happening. I mean, to be fair, right now, if Jim Shooter would ever come on our show, said, "Was that just you saying, oh yeah, I was imagining a kid with two toys and saying kiss, kiss, kiss," he would say, "Yeah, absolutely, obviously, isn't that clear? This is clearly the Beyonder manipulating every person on this planet to even, and this is, I think, one of the most clear evidence of this is that he's making the Hulk dumber." Because everybody remembers the Hulk as a dumb guy, as a big dumb rage monster. And he's like, well, so you're too smart to be the dumb guy. So we have to make you childlike Hulk again. He's like, no, I want to be the maestro. No, that's not what you get to be. You all get to be what I want you to be. And that's the Beyonder. Because he's a jerk. I love him, but he's a jerk. Can't wait to see what they do in Defenders Beyond. Spider-Man's a jerk too. I don't like how big they make the buildings, but I will say I'm more. I don't know what I'm matter about.
Oh yeah,
big they make.
The 400th floor or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just say it's a building and we're in it.
Or just go horizontally. Don't be, 400, 400 stories tall.
Yeah, and honestly, well, depth perception, I will say, is probably not Jim Shooter's forte. So he's tall; everything looks small to him. But what I will say is, in this moment, he's looking at something like, here's what I'll say. I don't know why Spider-Man is so mad at the mutants. Aside from the fact that clearly, which even Cyclops mentions, is like, man, I'm really worried about Charles Xavier. Because he's walking again, and now he's like, here's what we will do. It's like, it's pretty weird. It reminds, and again, to give Jim Shooter credit, he's like, imagine when we first started, he was so controlling and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, right. It's like he was being controlling of you people because he's a villain too.
I mean, the whole Spider-Man thing, I think it's just like, they're talking about sneaking out and going to hook up with Magneto. It's basically like, oh, hey, we're going to leave and go meet up with that terrorist, that mass murdering terrorist. It's like, well.
Yeah. But again, I don't know. I feel like they're dumbing down Spider-Man a bit in this. It's like, because to be fair,
they kind of do
no
it.
offense to you, Jim Shooter. Peter Parker was approached by the X-Men, as was, interesting enough, Namor. Though at the time they decided he was not a mutant. But then, of course, retconnery happened. And now he is.
And like you were saying, nobody knows that it's Rhodey in the Iron Man armor, not Tony Stark. So shouldn't it? Well, I mean, I'm trying to remember how much. I thought some of them at least knew that he had some kind of technical know-how. So shouldn't they be like, oh, hey, why isn't Iron Man helping?
I mean, I think they made some mention to it, but he's not asking to do the work. And again, to be fair, you have sort of the Ben Grimm conundrum, where someone may be super technically proficient,
yeah,
but they don't want to expose themselves, or more importantly, they don't have the hubris of a Tony Stark, of a Reed Richards, of a Dr. Doom, of Renato Octavius.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why only one of those was not a villain.
I mean,
yeah, you heard me, Tony Stark.
I get why they revealed Tony Stark's origin. It makes sense because of his ego and stuff. But I found it interesting at in this era where it's just like at this point, everyone who doesn't know his identity thinks that it's like a random employee of Tony Stark.
Yeah, and I think it fits well. But I think at the same time, they assume he knows how to do things.
Yeah,
because he's flying a high-tech armor. And again, if you're a friend of Ben Grimm, you know Ben Grimm's not an idiot. Like, Reed Richards knows Ben Grimm isn't an idiot. Johnny Storm can think whatever he wants, and it's up to Ben Grimm to tell him you're an idiot, to think I'm an idiot. But in this moment, they treat Iron Man as Iron Man, because that is what he is. It's a uniform. It's something you respect. Kind of in the same way they kind of treat Cap as a uniform and something you respect. Now, they don't technically know who's underneath the mask, who's wielding the shield, but they assume it's someone who is worthy of it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying they know it's the same Captain. At this point, it's the same Captain America. It's always been the same Captain. Well, except for when he was on ice.
Do
they?
I mean, that's the thing.
Sure. I'm pretty sure they, it again,
well,
his identity isn't common knowledge, but I'm pretty sure, they're just like, oh, hey, it's the guy from World War II,
and that's an interesting question you could even explore there. Is Cap made more Cap because he went to Secret Wars? Because that's what everyone remembered who Cap was. So it's like he becomes more noble, more who Captain America should be than who he is. I mean, there is so much that you could dissect in Secret Wars.
Oh yeah,
about how this creature beyond space and time altered reality. But what I really want to talk about is Titania and Vulcania.
Yes.
Who are our breakout stars. One at least we know will be in the new She-Hulk series.
Yes.
We have in this the idea that it is the amazing technology so advanced, but that Doom can manipulate like child's play. Because, that's what he says he can do when it works out well.
And again, they don't explain, it just shows he has these two women. I looked it up. It says they're both from Denver, Colorado. So it's basically, the town gets brought up here. So was he going around and asking people if they wanted power, or did he just grab two women off the street and be like, oh, hey, I'm giving you powers?
I don't know. I haven't read all the issues yet.
They don't explain it. They never explain it.
Well, I guess that is... and that is the weirdest thing about the Dr. Doom in this. Is he even Dr. Doom? Or is he just the manufacturer of the idea of Dr. Doom as perceived by the Beyonder? Which might explain why he could steal the Beyonder's power. It's one of these weird things, sort of this time loop from outside of the universe. As I have often said.
Well, no, remember, because his body was destroyed. He was in a different body, remember? And then eventually Byrne has to say, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Invincible Man story arc.
It's
one
like
of my favorites.
Yeah, Reed Richards is like, no, even you can't, Beyonder, can't this, survive messing with time like that. You have to restore Doom, send him back to Secret Wars to appear with the rest of us,
which might have just been Richards outsmarting the Beyonder.
Well,
because clearly the Beyonder was behind. It's like you could have said, because that's the thing about the Beyonders, is they're literally an eternal thing that suddenly looked through. Say, oh, what is this thing that's not eternal? What is that? And it's like the Q continuum, and it's like before that they're the continuum, and then, did you see there are beings who are transitory. They live and they die, and then they go to other universes, and it's a whole deal. You gotta look. Do you want to look into the lore? So it starts with these things called dinosaurs, and every planet has megafauna. But anyway, that's the thing for the Beyonder. It is a weirdness, and that's what intrigues it. In this moment, what we get is the Beyonder is the one beyond all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's setting up everyone to fight. And of course, eventually the mutants go join Magneto. And I wonder if expressly because the Beyonder wants Xavier to be more forceful without realizing that he can walk now. And that's sort of that idea. Like, no, I just wanted to be like he was in the comics in the 60s. It's like, oh, well, now he is, but you don't know the continuity. You didn't read the books that came after that, Beyonder. That's your problem.
And again, Xavier at this point is trying to, I can redeem Magneto. He was my friend. I can, no matter how many people he's killed, I can redeem him. And then, in a few years here, Xavier is going to leave for space and kind of leave Magneto in charge of the New Mutants, which, yeah.
I'm sorry, you kill a sea cook. That's not cool, man. He literally flipped burgers.
Just the ones we know about.
I know, and then for real, it's like you sink a whole nuclear sub. It's like, dude, that's not cool.
Didn't they say there was like 100 or 200 people? It's like, why are we giving this guy the chance?
Yeah, and again, there's a guy whose job was literally food service. Either, well, he served the Soviet Union and they're evil. It's like, dude, the man just wanted to live. And part of his job was flipping burgers.
But again,
you're kill a man for flipping burgers just because he lives in a dystopian state?
Is that just Magneto?
Guess what, buddy? You gotta kill a lot of burger flippers because I don't know where there's not a dystopian state right now.
But is that just Magneto's childhood issues? You were just following orders? You were just following orders? I've heard that before.
My order was to flip a burger, not kill a guy. Literally. I mean, that's the thing. It's like there are guys whose job is, I've been ordered to kill you, and so I will kill you. So, like, for example, in the last episode of The Orville, I haven't seen this week's yet, but in the last week of The Orville, there was a guy who was ordered to torture a kid. And that guy had a bad day. And you know what? I don't feel bad that that character had a bad day because you know what? He was ordered to torture a kid, and the kid didn't like being tortured, as it turned out. And so that he had a bad day is okay by me. And, that's the thing at the end of the day. Just saying I was only following orders. If your order was to flip burgers to make sure that we had good broccoli, or to at least make the broccoli edible, that is not cause to murder everybody.
Yeah, but it was Magneto. It's just like, you joined the military. You knew this was a possibility.
I mean, they know you can say it's a possibility, but, and again, this is what I've said before. So he says, well, that ship fired upon me. Well, then, with your amazing mutant abilities, couldn't you have taken the ship? Deconstructed it with your amazing mutant abilities. We've seen you do it in the past. Take the captain of the ship and say, excuse me, sir, did you just order that ship to fire upon me? And say, he says, yes. And says, well, then you're going to have to die or stand trial for this unwarranted offense. The rest of your crew, I would like you to go home now and tell your...
He has impulse control
your
issues.
people. Yeah,
impulse
people
control issues.
about Well, yeah, but that is literally the difference between superheroes and supervillains.
Well,
It's literally the fact that, oh, hey, I didn't do that. That's what makes you a hero.
And we all know the old adage about absolute power, Charlie Esser.
Well, exactly. Anyway, getting to the end of the story, bad guys are bad.
Well, yeah, and the 3, they attack again, now with Titania and Volcana.
Yeah, I am so excited about Titania, and let me just say this about Titania. So, oh gods, I ran too long. So the next 2 shows coming out from the MCU are She-Hulk, which features Titania, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which seems to deal with a weird fight between Atlantis and Wakanda, and we don't know why. And this is why I am pretty certain that Doctor Doom is going to be central to She-Hulk. In fact, I get the feeling that a lot of the Easter eggs are going to start dropping one after another, after another, after another.
Maybe
like
they can announce a Fantastic Four movie. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. Well, first off, Doom doesn't need the Fantastic Four.
No.
Doom
but
is okay. Doom is Dr. Claw. Remember Dr. Claw from the old Inspector Gadget?
Yeah.
It was a little hand you saw.
Yeah.
That is all we need for Doom. And the fact of the matter is that in this moment, we can get all of everything that we've imagined about Titania, everything that might be causing the instability between everything else, and just see a little gauntlet at the end. And that is enough. That is Doctor Doom. We can cast him later. We can discuss him later. We can talk about who the FF is later. But right now, we're dealing with the characters we've been given. And in this moment, it seems clear that they're probably going to start hinting at Doom in She-Hulk because they brought in Titania. Because, well, Titania is a clear and well-known She-Hulk villain. It's not the only one they could have chosen. There's a lot of characters they could have put in this moment, including Blonsky, the Abomination, who we know is in this, as well as the leader, who we haven't seen yet, but could be in this, and probably is. And in fact, I would not be surprised if we don't see a little bit of a reference to the Intelligentsia, where you have the leader in a final piece, maybe flanked by a new Dr. Octopus. Maybe the Lady Dr. Octopus from the Morales universe.
Mm-hmm.
Who says, yeah, we did what you said, and everything's moving forward. And then when we get to World of Wakanda, we're going to see the problems that everyone's dealing with in Wakanda, centered around the vibranium and possibly theft of vibranium, smuggling of vibranium, everything that goes. And again, at the end credit scene is going to be a little Dr. Claw gauntlet just going, moo ha 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 ha. And we're all going to know who it is, but it's like, oh, they're not going to say it. They're not going to say the words until we're ready. And then later we're going to see how the FF has been around for a bit. There is talk that the Thing may show up in She-Hulk. Now, I don't know if that is complete fan speculation, but it's a word that's out there, and maybe it will come true. And if we see the Thing in She-Hulk, then it's like, oh, okay. So there's a lot more to be told in this story that we thought was just a comic book thing. Anyway, what you want to talk about some actual comic books before we get out of here?
Yes.
We're like
speaking
6 minutes before the hour, so I want to get this done.
Yeah, good.
Pick a book, Phil.
Speaking of stealing vibranium.
Oh, did you catch that reference? Yeah, because this guy is 100% up to something.
Yeah.
And that I think is the problem here, is like, oh, Doomy. And again, going back to Secret Wars, like, oh, Doomy, you think you're so smart. You're not. But that opens up to what I think is the big question here. We got our Sam Wilson, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is our new Captain America. The question is he smart? Is he so super smart he's one step ahead? Or is he one step behind? And let me give you, there's a good image in this book here, which is, I'm almost there. There we go. He has the senator called Marston or something, and if you look, when we get to his saying, your plans for the Wakandans failed, they color his glasses gold. Which, if you remember from a recent Capes and Lunatics episode, I was telling you how artistically the fact that Nomad wore mirrored glasses showed him reflecting out what was occurring. Having this character have the mirrored gold glasses suggests the energies of evil are flowing through him. That he's trying to manipulate Sam Wilson. Now the core question is Sam Wilson, longtime superhero that he is, aware of this manipulation and sort of doing a jujitsu reflect as he fights? And actually, it's not jujitsu; it's Tai Chi. Is he doing a Tai Chi, letting it flow past him as he continues on his path, because he knows he's gaining knowledge from every hit he's deflecting? Or is he just mistaken? And that will come up and he has to correct his mistakes later. I personally feel that Sam Wilson is receiving the hits and deflecting them without the villain knowing it. Because I do think Marsden is the villain of this piece.
Yeah, because now he's sneaking into Wakanda.
Yeah, well, you got it,
Because they're all democratic now. They don't want to. They're like, we'll take care of this ourselves. Vibranium missing, we'll take care of it.
That doesn't seem democratic to me.
Well, they're what's happening in Wakanda, they think they're democratic, but
I understand. I understand how people think they're democracies when they're not. As it turns out, the U.S. is dealing with this right now.
I was gonna say it's Wakanda's first time.
Yeah, you never forget your first. Hey, Ant-Man.
Yes, by our buddy Al Ewing.
And I got the Scotty version.
Ooh.
I like this book. Phil, what did you think?
I liked it. I mean, I guess it's going to be like a time travel thing because this time we got Hank and Jan, I guess, early on in their career.
Oh, who else did we get, Phil, though?
We got appearances by young Eric O'Grady. We got Scott Lang for like 2 seconds.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the most interesting aspect of it. And we got that freaking Tony Stark Ant-Man.
What?
Honestly, if there's any bigger insult,
I don't know if that. I don't know if that's supposed to be the Tony Stark. I think that's just the future Ant-Man. I think.
Yeah, but wasn't that? Look, I'm just saying. I remember the Stark Ant-Man. I read Avengers Forever. Don't say I don't. Yeah. As the Ant-Man of that universe, but he's a Stark. And there's a part of me that's like, Man, that's insulting to Hank Pym. Not to make him a Pym, but to make him a Stark. Now, granted, you could have Janet Van Dyne. You could have Hope Van Dyne marry anybody. You could have Hope Van Dyne marry what's her name? Uh, Morton Stark or whatever.
But I mean, the Stark one was from an old. I mean, this just smacks of future to me, just because he's like, "Oh, I know you're Hank Pym because I'm," it seems to maybe.
Yeah, except he has a black hair and a black beard.
Well, yeah, I think that just
and his art kind of implies the.
Yeah, but I don't think
the Stark Ant-Man we saw.
Yeah, earlier, I don't think he was wearing the suit because Stark's reality was kind of like a the post-apocalyptic, those Masters of
which kind of looks. I don't know. I don't know, Philip. I'm going to say you may be wrong on this. I think that's supposed to be the Avengers Forever Stark Ant-Man. And I just feel that's kind of insulting to Hank, as we know, is always easily bothered by little things. And to put it to you simply, it's like, Hank, you're the villain of this piece, aren't you? When we watch this, it's like, oh, he's going to be the bad guy, isn't he? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to buy more issues, don't get me wrong, but I do feel this ends poorly.
I know the solicit says, yeah, we're going to just explore the history of every hero, past, present, and future, called Ant-Man.
Yeah, well, Morgan Stark, that's her name. So Hope Van Dyne could marry Morgan Stark and they could have a child. And that could be a Stark. But I don't know if that's what they're going to do yet. We'll have to see. Also, Hope Van Dyne's a little ode for Morgan Stark. Comic book ages are hard to navigate. We already talked about the Captain America book, right?
Yes. Yep. We just talked about it.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I mentioned how I think Dr. Doom's going to be in everything else. MCU. So, you know what, Phil? I think we're done with this story. Phil, why don't you take us out of this episode?
All right. So, yes, kids, next week, Secret Wars 4, 5, and 6, and any new Avengers books. So, send your thoughts on everything. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Avengers Declassified on Facebook, on Twitter. Find links to all the social medias for everything we do. Links to the YouTube channel. Links to the Patreon. Please support us there. Every little bit helps. With $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, the superhero movie brackets. We will find the worst superhero movie of all time. And, of course, Capes and Lunatics merch. So find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics.
And, of course, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way that our mothers and fathers once did, do so at superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on Instagram at superconnectivityblog. And follow me on the Twitter under my real name, Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Maz. All right, my dear friends, you have listened to another episode of Avengers Declassified. This episode will self-destruct in 30 seconds.
Just like
Good
Ultron.
night.
Just like Ultron.
Well, Ultron self-destruct. Here's what I'm going to say. I honestly want to say this episode will self-destruct 30 minutes before it began. And I think that's a fair assessment.
It gets crazier, kids. Remember, we get your first appearance of a symbiote.
Not yet.
No, but
Don't
in this series.
spoil. Right now, we're just realizing how really anti-mutant everyone is, and it's like, dude. Now, granted, Rogue did like put Captain Marvel in a coma, and